This shit right here sounded pretty fucking interesting. I'm not gonna lie. Where the fuck's it at? This right here.
I wanted to ask you a very specific question because you're a guy who's known for having a very high natural testosterone level. So my question to you is first of all, what do you do that keeps your testosterone high? And two, where do most guys go off the rails with this stuff?
All right, that's a good question. And it's actually interesting you asked me that because I just had a conversation about this morning. Now, there's two things I want to preface this talk with. Number one, when somebody says they have high testosterone naturally, I want to know where's the proof. You'll see people post their blood tests. I post my blood tests, but they'll only post a portion of their blood test.
Right.
So the last round of blood tests I posted, my testosterone was 951. But that wasn't the important number that I posted. The important number was my LH and my FSH, which were both at 5.7, which means I'm not on testosterone therapy. When you go on testosterone therapy, those numbers drop to 0.3. They're eliminated. So if someone's telling you that they have high testosterone, if someone's telling you how to get some high testosterone, you need to do a little bit of fact checking here. Are they on TRT? Because guess what the number one thing you can do to raise your testosterone is, Joe? TRT.
TRT.
Right? Like it's an easy solution. You want to raise your testosterone, go on TRT. But what we're talking about today is how to raise your testosterone naturally,
right? Which
now comes to the second point, genetics. I don't care who you are, what you think you know, what supplement you buy outside of TRT. Genetics is the number one influencer of your testosterone level.
The topical happy head. So the way
it's your video.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And I'll take it a step further. I know that there are people, and I've been this guy in my life, to say with enough hard work, you can overcome anything. You can build muscle. You can lose fat. You can, whenever you go to a doctor, what's the first form you fill out? It's family history.
Yeah.
So if your 4 grandparents all had skin cancer, I suggest you stay away from the sun.
Mm-hmm.
If all your 4 grandparents had a heart attack, Joe, the cause of death for you is probably going to be a heart attack. If your father was sick.
By the way, just so we're on the same page, the sun doesn't cause cancer whatsoever. The sun, they did a study and then they gave 25 people a highly processed diet full of carbs and sugar. And then they got 25 people with just like healthier foods, fruits, vegetables, organic, single ingredient foods. And then they put them all in the sun for the same exact time. And the ones that got the higher cancer cells or whatever the fuck were the ones who had a bad diet. So it's not that the sun gives you cancer, but the sun affecting what the fuck you put inside your body is what caused the cancer. Don't let them fool you thinking that the sun causes cancer. Well, there's no fucking way that the sun that creates everything and gives life to everything on this fucking earth. And listen, bro, it's just not true. And you know what I'm saying? So to believe that shit is just stupid. And it's just, there's facts behind it. There's research behind it. There's literature behind it. There's no such thing as the sun giving you cancer. Like, you know what I'm saying? So don't believe that shit. It's what's inside of you and how you treat your gut and your body and everything else. It's how your body's reacting to the sun. It's not the sun's fault. The sun does its thing. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways. What the fuck was I sharing again?
6'6", 280 pounds with muscles, and your mother was a Viking princess, and she was 6'2" and 180 pounds shredded. You will probably look like Thor when you're 14 or 15 years old. It's actually shocking. I'll post this on my Instagram. It's a picture of me and Beanzo, who's my 16-year-old son, and my 8-year-old son, and we're on a pull-up bar, and we all have back abs. The 8-year-old doesn't have back abs because he does an excessive number of pull-ups, because he's been working out, because he's doing back extensions in his spare time. That's just how we're built.
Yeah.
The baby right now, my 5-year-old, I call him a baby because he's my little one. Joe, if you watched him walk and you watched him get up from a laying position, he moves exactly like I do.
Yeah.
So the number one thing that I want you to know with your testosterone, if you have high testosterone, that could be completely genetic. Like if you look at me, I started going bald when I was 24 years old, 23 years old. That's from naturally high testosterone. Heart disease runs in my family. There's a correlation between heart disease and high testosterone. Like, I got the genetic gift. So that's a big part of it. And if you have genetically low testosterone, the advice I'm about to give you, it might not change it that much. It'll help it a little bit, maybe 10%, maybe 20%, even 30%. But you're not all of a sudden going to be a guy who's at 300 testosterone going up to 1,000 because you decide to eat more red meat or you decide to work out. So I just need to...
And as always, consult a physician.
Yeah. I need to put that in place, though, because people listen to this advice on the internet and they're like, hey, if I just have a sauna once a day, my testosterone is going to shoot through the roof.
Right.
It doesn't work like that. It will raise it incrementally. And if you do all the things I'm about to tell you to do and maybe stay away from the things I tell you not to do, you will improve. Are you going to triple it?
Say it this way: like you're going to maximize within your potential, right? So if you have a genetic limit that you're going to be closer and closer to that limit. You're not just going to like burst through and turn into a freaking beast from the X-Men because you started chopping wood or whatever.
And before you shut down, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do these things, because even if you're on, and this is where I separate the experts and the people I trust from the charlatans. Even if you're on testosterone therapy, you should be doing all these things because you want to give your body every chance possible to make things naturally, but also they're also synonymous with health, because the things I'm about to tell you are good health practices in general, not just for testosterone. So the number one thing that you can do, Joe, and I'm going to go the positive and the negative.
All right.
You want to raise your testosterone, get more sleep in a completely blacked out environment.
Yes.
There's a lot of science that says when light hits your skin, melatonin's washed away, that you sleep less deeply. There's a lot of sleep science that says you should be in a cold room with warm feet. So have your window open at night and wear warm socks. There's a lot of science that says you should sleep under a weighted blanket. There's a lot of science out there that says you should not be exposed to the blue light from screens 2 hours before bed. The more you can protect the quantity of your sleep and the quality of your sleep, something people call sleep hygiene, the higher your testosterone is going to be, the higher your human growth hormone is going to be, the higher your energy levels are going to be in the day, the better your immune system is going to be. Like, the answer is to get more sleep. And I'm a believer, 9 is better than 8, 10 is better than 9, 11 is better than 10.
Well, there's going to be people who push back and say, well, I only get 5 and I'm fine. But I promise you, if you go from 5 to 6, you will feel super
you would be better on more. And the human genome hasn't changed in the last 10,000 years. And how, let me word that a different way. What were we doing 10,000 years ago? Well, it was dangerous when it was dark. So you went to bed when it was dark and you slept, and there was no screens and no distractions and no lights, and you woke up at first light. So you were getting 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep a night. That is the answer. Now, the reason I said 11's better than 10, 10's better than 9, I think everyone can get 7 hours of sleep a night. I think that's a reasonable ask, right? You're going to bed at midnight, you're waking up at 7 in the morning. You're going to bed at 10, you're waking up at 5. I think that's reasonable. When you start asking people for 8, 9, 10, 11, like, I understand how that's not tenable for a dude who's working 60 hours a week, who's got 3 kids, who's got a wife, who wants to do some other things. But the thing I'm trying to get across is more is better. Now, conversely, you want to tank your testosterone? Sleep less. And there's a lot of studies that show if you sleep less than 5 hours a night, your testosterone will cut in half. Like, you take that volume down for testosterone, you shut that thing right off. So the number one thing you could do is sleep. You want to tank your testosterone? Stop sleeping. Number 2, exercise, specifically sprints, jumps, and heavy lifts. Those things will influence your body to make more testosterone. I always use the anecdotal example of the sprinter versus the marathon runner. A sprinter is right, 5'10", 190 pounds, ripped, jacked. They win the 100-meter dash, they're pumping their chest. Yeah, rage, all the things. A guy who runs the 1,500-meter, he falls to his knees and cries after he finishes the race, right?
It's so good, and it's true.
There are, that's totally anecdotal, but there are a lot of studies out there that endurance athletes will suffer from chronically low testosterone. So exercise and lifting heavy. Back up. I did not say cardio was bad. When I say endurance athlete, I'm talking about world-class endurance athletes. I'm not talking about you who runs on a treadmill for 10 minutes to warm up. That's not going to kill your gains. I'm not talking about your 5K run. I'm talking about guys that run 140 miles a week. I'm talking about cyclists that ride their bike 20,000 plus miles a year. That is not you. Cardio is not bad for you. In fact, you could make the argument for the average person, any form of exercise will raise your testosterone. Conversely, you want to tank your testosterone? Stop exercising. Just quit. Sit on a couch all day. So that's number 2. We got sleep, we got exercise. Number 3, Joe, you got to lose some weight.
Yeah.
I just made a $27 ebook in 2 minutes using
27.
AI.
You see that?
Watch how I did it. So
27?
you can do.
Number 27 is all over the place, man. I just rolled the joint. My stomach hurts. I doubled up on my caffeine intake, bro. It's not good. I'm not doing nothing. So what's the point of me taking more caffeine? You know what I'm saying? So I know what. My stomach hurt. I'm tripping. Can't even think right. I can't focus. So it's gonna have to dead this shit. You feel what I'm saying? Cool. God bless America.